Welcome to the Business Communication Center tutorial on paraphrasing sources. This tutorial will cover source words, the ways that we can incorporate those into our document, and the reasons for rewording those words. We'll cover paraphrasing rules that include shared language and other types of language that you can use in your paraphrase. We'll give you the paraphrasing steps and show you 2 examples. If you have not already viewed our other tutorials on APA, we've got one on the basics that covers identifying what to cite, identifying credible sources, and plagiarism, and the other that actually shows you how to write a citation and a reference. So you might want to look at those. Let's get started. So we can incorporate source words in 3 different ways into our document. First, quotations. This means that I take the exact words from the source and copy them in my paper and put quotation marks around them. For a paraphrase, I will take the information in a sentence and restate that information using my own words. Sometimes I don't need the information in every sentence. Maybe I just want the main ideas. If I'm summarizing the main ideas, that's called summarizing. So why do we need to do this? Why do we need to reword source words? Would it be easier if we just took 2.5 sentences from the Internal Revenue Code, copied it into our document, and threw quotation marks around it? Well, of course it would be easier. But your professor actually knows what the Internal Revenue Code says. What your professor wants to know is, do you understand what it means? So paraphrasing and summarizing indicates that you understand the source material. Also, it's going to make it easier for your reader to understand if you paraphrase and summarize. You have to know that it is important to preserve the integrity of the source words. So when I'm paraphrasing and rewording, what I've done is I've shown us, in a sense, a respect for not just the exact words, but for the way the sentence is constructed. Sometimes it is necessary to use the exact wording from the source. 2 instances that we can think of would involve, if I'm quoting what a politician said, then the exact wording may be appropriate. I may not want to paraphrase that. Or, for instance, part of a company's mission statement or vision statement. That company probably spent quite a bit of money getting someone in their marketing department to word that statement just right. So I may want to incorporate quotation marks around certain phrases in that mission statement. So those are 2 reasons that using the exact wording may be important. But whether I quote, summarize, paraphrase, each of those must be accompanied with a citation in the text and a full reference at the end of the document. So for words that I can use from source material, that's going to include a category called shared language. These are words that are commonly used in a discipline, field, or industry. So for instance, in accounting, that would be words such as tax, debit, financial statement. These words would also be considered shared language in the finance industry. So these words I can use. I don't have to change those. Common knowledge words. This is another base of language that I can use. So these are words that might take on a different meaning if I changed them. For example, I cannot say that instead of a flamingo, that a pink bird with a long neck, long legs, and a large black-tipped curved bill flew across the state of Florida. I have to preserve that word. Otherwise, it's going to mean something different in all its glory it must remain flamingo. So I can use that as a common knowledge-based word. Other words that you can use in a paraphrase would include forms of the verb to be, such as is, was, were, may, will, words like that. Little words such as articles, an, and the, and prepositions with less than 5 letters. So I could use of and from in my paraphrase if that's in the source material. But if the source material says above, I cannot use that because it's 5 letters. I have to think of a synonym. Also, we can use proper nouns and adjectives. We should not change the name of something. So a proper noun would be words like Olympics, Buckingham Palace. Proper adjective would be words like Freudian, Vietnamese. So these words I do not change. Now, if I don't want to spend a whole lot of time revising my paraphrase, I need to follow a certain order of steps. So first, I'm going to change the order or the sentence structure in the sentence. Most of our students are unaware that the sentence structure itself must be changed. That's part of the integrity of the words, right? Then the second step is to identify the shared language. Then step 3, change all the other words. And finally, add a citation and a reference. So here is original text from the Deloitte website. Now celebrating 175 years of service, our network of member firms spans more than 150 countries and territories. So say I need to use this information in my paper. Step 1, I'm going to change the order from the original text. So that means that I'm going to put what's at the end of the sentence or the middle of the sentence at the beginning of the sentence. So at the end, we have spans more than 150 countries and territories. I'm going to move that to the beginning. And you'll notice that in my revision, I have to change the form of some of the words. Spanning more than 150 countries and territories. Okay, now I have put what's at the end of the sentence at the beginning. Here, I have added what's at the middle. Our network of member firms, and now I'm going to put what's at the beginning of the sentence at the end, and I have to revise the sentence structure, add a verb, right? Make a few changes to make it make sense. Our network of member firms is now celebrating 175 years of service. So great, I have accomplished step 1. I have changed the order. Step 2, I'm going to identify the shared language. So we're talking about Deloitte. So this would be finance, accounting type industries. So words like that I could use. I don't see any shared language in here, but I do see a statistic, 150. I see a little word and a conjunction, so I can use that word. We've got our here, so that would be common language. There would not be another way to express that if I were writing it from the Deloitte point of view. And then we've got a preposition of less than 5 letters of. I have had to use is, that was not actually in the original text. And then 175 years. I've got a number that I cannot change, and then years, there is no other way to say it. It's like, it's got to be a flamingo, right? So now I have identified the words that I can use. I have to change all of the other words. All right. So step 3, change the words. I'm going to have to find synonyms for the words that are not highlighted in red. So there's 2 places that we recommend you might want to go to find synonyms. So let's look at the word network in the middle of the sentence. Thesaurus.com is a terrific source for synonyms. So you're just going to put in thesaurus.com in your browser, and then this page will come up right in the search engine here in Thesaurus. You're going to put in network, and it will pop up with this list of words. I kind of like the word web. I think that might make a nice synonym for network. Another place that you can use is Microsoft Word. You're probably already in Word typing up your paper. So to find a synonym for network, you would select or highlight network. Then you would go to the tab that says review. From there, you find the open book icon for Thesaurus. And when you click on it, it will open up on the side a thesaurus with the word you've highlighted and a list of synonyms. And you'll see that web is the fourth one on the list. So they've got system, grid, web, link, linkage. Web is really the best match here. All right, so going to go forth now, and we're going to change the words. Spanning more than 150 countries. So spanning more than. I don't know that I really need to look up spanning, because I think spanning more than just really means in over 150, right? So sometimes it doesn't take a lot of effort to think of how to replace those words. So countries, nations is a synonym for country, so I can paraphrase that. And territories. Now that one may be tricky. Perhaps that's a common knowledge word, but when I did do a search, I came up with areas which didn't really change the meaning of the word. So I decided to paraphrase and use areas. Our network of member firms. So we're going to say our web, right? But who is our? Our is Deloitte, because I found this information on their website, but I'm writing a paper that's reporting on Deloitte. So I don't really mean our, I mean Deloitte's, right? Web, which we'd already identified, of member firms. What are member firms? Well, they're companies. They're companies that are kind of partnering with Deloitte or associating with Deloitte. So this is what I chose. Of associate companies is I can use right now, currently is a good synonym for currently, celebrating. So I looked up celebrating in thesaurus.com, and among other choices, there was this word proclaiming. And I thought, well, you know what? That's kind of what they're doing. They're letting everybody know, right? This wonderful thing. So I chose proclaiming. 175 years of service. That's client assistance. So you can tell that this process may take time, which makes me think perhaps I should not leave it until the night before my paper is due. Okay, so now we have our complete paraphrase, right? But we have to add the citation. And if you remember from our other tutorial, the citation goes at the end of the sentence, and it includes the author, the year of publication, and the page number if there is one. In this case, we have no page number because it's a website. So we just have Deloitte, the author or source, and the year of publication. So I've got my citation, and finally, I have to have my reference. So this is the full reference. If you want to know more about how to do a citation and a reference, you can check our website. So one final note. If I have a lot of shared words together, kind of in a string, maybe 3 or more, even though they're shared words, as you can see here in red, these would be words that are common to the finance or accounting industry. Because I have copied so many in a row, exactly from the source, I'm going to go ahead and put quotation marks around those to indicate to the reader, this string of words I didn't really come up with myself. I copied it just like it is from the source material. So too many source words in a row, just as it appears in the original text, use quotation marks. So I'd like for you to encourage you, if you are struggling with paraphrasing or summarizing, schedule an appointment on our website, bcc.utdallas.edu. And remember those other APA videos, tutorials that are on our website. Also, please understand that this is a free resource for JSOM students. You can get individual appointments also for your resume, cover letter, LinkedIn, any written class assignment you have, or class presentation. If you don't know where to get started with your project, you can even schedule an appointment to brainstorm and we'll talk it out with you. Finally, we do have a specialist for English language learners. So if you're learning to speak English, you can schedule an appointment for that as well. Good luck with your paraphrasing. Make sure you give it plenty of time and come see us. Thanks for listening.